So you know. All right, Greenville Council will come to order. Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Here.
Whitaker,
Here.
Brown, Ely, here, Godwin.
Here. Okay, if I could get everyone to stand for the pledge. To the flag of the United States of America, and stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everyone. Approval of the minutes, they were sent out. Is there any additions or corrections? If not, they will stand approved as emailed. Approve of the current financial report that was sent out. I'll take a motion. So moved. Been moved by Mr. Whitaker to approve the financial reports. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Ely. Yes. Godwin.
Yes. Next, approval of the agenda. We have a couple additions to add. Number 9, resolution to authorize the safety service director to advertise for bids for the North Ohio Street project. And number 10, resolution to authorize safety service director entering into a grant for lead line replacement.
Anything else, Dan?
That's it.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Yeah, there is one more thing. There's a need for an executive session for the purpose of the Ohio Revised Code 121.22.1 for the consideration, the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official. Now I'll take your motion.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Been moved to approve the agenda as amended. Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Ely. Yes. Godwin.
Yes. Okay, next on the agenda is public hearing. If anyone would like to come up to the podium and speak, just state your name and address, please.
My name is Janet Dieter and I live at 303 East Harmon. And first of all, I want to thank Clarence for letting me talk to you on Friday. And thank you, Leon, for speaking with me a few minutes ago. My concern, of course, it got back to me concerning the trash bags. That they were going to be done away with. And I was up here several years ago fighting for the senior citizens and the single people in our community. I had people calling me and contacting me and saying, hey, we can't afford an increase in our trash and they're going to do away with the bags and all this. So I became their voice. So now that when that came back to me on Friday, I became their voice again. So just as I was coming up here, my trash gets picked up on Wednesday mornings and I couldn't believe the trash bags that are still being used. When I go to work on Tuesdays, I see trash bags still being used. So after speaking with Leon, I understand there may be something else in the works. So whatever is in the works, please consider the single people, the elderly, because I was doing the math, and if they were forced to say hypothetically to take the smallest trash container that Rumpke offers, it comes to $192 a year. And that's a chunk of change. And you all know that we are in a crisis in this country right now from the rising of the gasoline and the food and everything else. Everything goes up, but nothing comes down. So I am fighting for them as well as for myself because it's only my income. So $192, if that was to be, I don't know where else I could cut it. So whatever your new system is, I hope you remember the single people, the elderly who are on this limited income, that it could be very trying for them. So I'll move on from that because when somebody heard I was coming up here, they gave me another concern. And I called Rumpke over this. Actually, I was out there at the food truck rally and I learned this from one of the Rumpke workers. My neighbors would like to have those green tubs. They get a lot from Amazon. And the boxes don't stay in the short red tubs. And their friends have the green ones. And they wanted to know how could they get their hands on those taller green ones. And so I asked the Rumpke guy out there on Saturday, and he says, it's your city. Your city says you can't have them. So I didn't quite believe that. So I called them Monday and I had a talk with somebody from Rumpke's, and she says, here it is, real big bold letters, not in the city of Greenville. And I said, but the people on the outskirts of town can have them? And she said, yeah, but you can't have them in Greenville. Now, is there a reason for that? Because these people recycle like crazy. They were told they could have another red one, but the boxes are too big. And so they're falling out or whatever. Is there a way that those green ones can also be allowed for us people in town? And what is the reason why we can't have them? The lady didn't know. She had no clue. So that is one of my concerns. And then the other thing is this box out here where you drop your water bills. The day they installed that, I went to the water department because it had just been in the Dayton paper where people are getting into those boxes. And of course, it happened again over the weekend in Kettering, in Dayton, in Beaver Creek, and across the United States. So what I'd like to know is if I would drop a check in there and that thing gets broken into and then they whitewash it, who's going to be held liable for that? Because that is not a postal box. So I don't think it's going to fall under that. Who will be responsible for that? She did say there's cameras, but they also said in the paper and on the news tonight, they think they know some of the people involved, but not for sure. So if that happens down the road, because you know in there it's going to be, it's all checks. It's for the water bill. So if somebody gets smart enough and figures out how to get into that box, who will be responsible? Will I be responsible or will the city be responsible? Those are my concerns.
So let me handle the first one and then I'll ask for help from the law director and maybe Ryan. But so the Rumpke contract, we just recently renewed that for a year. So what we are doing is tonight, we're looking at some options, possibly taking it on ourselves, possibly renewing it again with Rumpke. We think there's some benefits if we do it in-house, but we want to review it, and I'm glad everyone's here if everyone's here for that reason, but we're reviewing it and looking at what's best for the city. When I say best for the city, it's best for the citizens of Greenville.
Yeah, why couldn't they go back? If they're going to do away with the bags, why don't they go back to the stickers then? The stickers cannot cost as much as making those bags. I understand with the oil problem, that is costly making bags. I know that's involved with bags, but the stickers worked well. And then suddenly they stopped making the stickers and told us we had to get certain bags because we all used to use our own bags.
Right.
So if they want to do away with the bags because of the cost, then can they go back to the stickers and we buy stickers?
But as far as your one question, as far as the different toters, I'm not sure why different size of recyclables. I'm not sure why that was in. Do you know, Ryan? Or
my understanding, it's in the contract and it was in the renewal. I mean, it says right in there, a red Rumpke bin. I was always told that the city had asked Rumpke to put something in there before, but they didn't want to do the capital expense. I mean, there's other bins are expensive and they already had that capital expense in the red bins.
okay. And then as far as your last question, I can't remember that last part, but I was going to ask the law director as far as the help me out. The drop box, yes.
Dropbox.
Well, first and foremost, the criminal's responsible if someone's in there stealing, taking your stuff. So let's not move past that. And if it was after that, once it's on our property, if it was secured, we potentially could split the liability. It all varies on how it happens. It's not a simple process to figure that out per se. But that's why we do have cameras on the drop boxes. It's 1 block from the police station. You know, we were careful in figuring out where to put it and why we put it where it was. And yes, people are getting into those. It's also potential that people get into the side of the building where the old drop box was before as well. So
They have gotten into the side of the building in the past?
they have not.
Okay,
But
so
in
that
theory-
seemed more secure. And so when you say split the cost, are you saying then that's going to become the like if my check gets stolen, I will be responsible for half of it?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Not
So
separated.
again, going back, first and foremost, if a check gets stolen and there's a claim made against it, the criminal is always responsible for it. A lot of times the financial institutions then come in. If they have insurance or protection, if you have fraud protection on your accounts, that comes in and protects it. If nobody was willing to step up to the plate and you didn't have, the criminal wasn't able to pay it back, there wasn't protection on your side, then a claim could be made against the city and then we would take care of it. We exhaust all the other options first, but ultimately the city does have protection for things like that if it happened because of our actions.
I've had probably 15 comments that were all positive, thinking that, wow, I don't have to get out of my car. It's just a real quick. You're the first person that's had that concern, so.
Well, because I read the paper and now it's all over the news. They said they finally found they're still finding them. They found another one last night. And the criminal got away. They think they got a good picture of the person, but they're not certain. But when they first installed that, they arrested 2 people from California. And they said this is going across the United States. It's a new system now and they don't know how they're getting into these things. They haven't figured it out yet. So, but they did say that all the locks to those boxes is a generic key. So that, I don't know how that key works, but they said that could be the problem and then a mail lady had her key stolen yesterday or today. So is that going to be a problem? But okay, I'll not worry about that. But back to the green things, what do I tell my neighbors? Can they get one or not?
I don't think Rumpke will give them one because it's not in their contract. They're not required to give our residents that green bin. So I don't think they will.
Okay.
Another thing that they could do is cutting those boxes down.
Yeah.
That might, and I know if I have some large, because I bought a storm door and it's all wrapped in cardboard. And so I had to cut it up small enough to fit in that red box. And, I could still put everything else in.
Well, I saw their bins today. They have 2 out and they're completely full. They get that much from Amazon and things like that. And they've got it folded, but they said sometimes when it's windy, that blows out. So.
Yeah, the only thing they can do is cut it in pieces.
No green bin. What if hypothetically they get one from somebody, would they not be picked up then?
I
Try it.
Right.
Hey, if they're watching, hey guys, go for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I like levity. That's good.
Hi, Kathy Beam, 1024 Wayne Avenue, Greenville. I'm here tonight to represent from our Back the Blue Memorial Ceremony. We're 4 days out, and what a great way to end National Police Week that ends on the 21st in our own backyard. And it's going to be this Saturday, the 21st, at Dark County Fairgrounds. The gates open at 4:30. It's a free event, which makes it even better. We have 5 different food trucks going to be there. 8:30 is our ceremony, and I just want to touch a little bit about some of the things that's coming into our community this weekend. I don't know if any of you have heard of Dave Bray. Dave Bray is a national known artist that is a rock and roll patriot for our country. He has done the famous song Last Call and Survivor, and he is going to be putting on a performance at 6:30 outside of the grandstand, and then he'll also be doing Last Call during our ceremony. Hannah Ellis, who has appeared on The Voice in 2015, has a song called Officer Down that is very prominent across our nation in support of our officers. She will also be performing at 5:30, and then she'll also be appearing on stage with our ceremony. We also have 3 speakers that's coming throughout the night. One is Quincy Smith. He's from Estelle, and I hope I said that right, South Carolina. In 2016, on New Year's Day, he was actually shot 4 times in the arm and in the chest area. It was all recorded by his helmet. He was in a suspicious person is what happened. Ended up being shot and survived. He is going to come up and he's going to give his story to us and the community, as well as Katie D Simone in 2015. She is from Lexington, Kentucky. Her husband was shot and killed in the line of duty during a robbery investigation, and she is going to tell her story as well. Haley Paris is a young woman from Cleveland. Her father was also in 2018 killed in the line of duty, and they all 3 have such a tremendous amount of support for all of our officers, and just want to get that word out. And so we're really excited to have those people come. They're going to be staying with us here in our city, eating at our restaurants. We've got a whole weekend planned for them, so we're really excited about that. Chief Whitaker from the Dark County Sheriff's Office will be our master of ceremonies. We'll be having a roll call of fallen officers and canines. Again, food trucks, we will have 5 different local ones there. Franklin County Sheriff's Department is going to do our presentation of colors. And we will then end our night with a cruiser light video with an amazing grace performance. Those cruisers will be lined up on the track with their lights on. It's going to be a pretty spectacular event, rain or shine. So I hope that you come out and support that. Our own officer, Mike Dickman from Greenville PD, this was his vision 3 years ago. Pandemic put us off in 20 and 21. So here we are 4 days away, and we're so excited to share it with our community. So hope you can come out.
Kathy, is this the first one or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was planned. We started planning in August of 2019. Pandemic hit. We didn't get to do it. Last year, we didn't get to do it. And so we've just been raising monies through fundraisers, donations. The community has been absolutely awesome at supporting this event. So we're excited about it. And we hope to plan this and do this each year to recognize all of our officers. And we do have a lot of, the other thing that I do, we have our final meeting tomorrow night, but I know that there is a lot of our county sheriffs and a lot of our county PDs that are going to be attending as well, because they're doing their roll calls for us. We have actually a very large stage that's going to be put on the fairgrounds at the grandstand that will have a life-size screen that we have Greg Zecker has done our PowerPoint that we're going to have it all up on the screen. So maybe a little bit, I get emotional talking about it, and it's probably going to be even more emotional as we go through the night, but we're excited about it. So
Yeah,
hope you can all come.
I think it's going to be an awesome event, and I appreciate you coming up and
All right.
telling us all about it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Name's Andy Roberts. 217 Hiddison Avenue. Just want to boost. A month ago, Patricia Longfellow was here from LifeWise, and she gave the invitation to a fundraiser campaign that they're having on this Sunday, May 22nd. It will be at Trinity Wesleyan Church at 12:30. So I'm going to leave these here on the podium. If you would like to come, we would like to invite the public and our city officials. Reservations were supposed to be due by May 15th, but I'm sure they will take any reservations. The information's on here. If you can come, make sure you bring the checkbook. I know I will have my checkbook. And if you would like to give to the cause of LifeWise Academy, it's a great it's a great thing for our schools that we are instituting in the fall, hopefully. So just like to remind you of this event, May 22nd at 12:30 at Trinity Wesleyan Church for the fundraiser campaign luncheon for LifeWise Academy.
And that is this Sunday, correct?
Sunday, yes.
At 4:30
12:30.
or 12:30? Okay.
I'll leave them here on the podium. If you'd like to have one, please take one.
Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to come and address council? If not, we will move on to administration reports. Honorable Mayor.
Thank you, Council President. I do have a few things I'd like to let you know about. First thing on the list is back on May 5th, just after our last council. We were able to do a proclamation for the National Day of Prayer. It was a great event. Saw a few of us were there. Every year, they try to do it every year. Of course, pandemic didn't allow some of it, but back to doing it again. It was a great event, and it was fun, and it's good to see a lot of people attend that. So then about a week ago or so, we met with Dave Knapp, talking about some things that you like to do, some projects maybe coming up. But one of the things I told Ryan said, Dave Knapp is slowly removing himself, trying to retire a little bit more, and his 2 sons are kind of taking over the business somewhat. So I told Ryan, I said, Wednesdays I'm going to be gone, he's going to be gone. You have to deal with the kids. So we went out to meet Brian and Brad. So it was it was a good deal. So I had a good talk with them. It was fun. So then I got fireworks are coming up. July 3rd will be our fireworks event for the city out at the fairgrounds. That always starts around dusk. The reason I bring it up, just to let you know, I met with Paul Ackley, and he makes the signs for that. And the signs are getting beat up a little bit, and by the time you do very many changes on those signs, you have to get them sanded down and redo them. It sometimes even costs more than what that new sign would be. I'm having to make two new signs. And one of the reasons also, besides is getting older, is that I had a couple name changes. So if anybody doesn't say anything, I said, anybody that donates will have a new name put on them. And so we'll be working on that here in the next couple of weeks. And then I think he's getting the material either this last weekend or this week, and we'll design new signs. So that'd be fun. We'll be able to get them up pretty soon. Then you probably have it down, but I want to make sure that everybody realize that on the 7th, when on the 7th, that we swore a new fireman, Drew Sherman. He'll get around in the fire department, stop and say hi to him, wish him the best, and I'm sure it'll work out if he wants it to work out. We'll do what we can to keep him involved. So wish him the best you see him. So last night we had a ribbon cutting for the Dean's Bakery. And I think maybe start to be open today. I'm not positive, but
Yes.
got a cookie from him, so it was a good deal. But man, that place is nice. If anybody hasn't been able to visit that yet, stop in.
A little bigger.
'Cause wow. It's amazing. It's a beautiful place. They even got a stage for some entertainment. It's like, wow, I didn't realize it was that big inside, but it's pretty nice. So it'll be fun to see what they have going on this year. After that, we met with this is the last day, put it this way, this is the last day, today is the last day of Police Week across the nation. And a couple of the gentlemen in the back of the room, Archbishop Reborn and Bishop Andrew Roberts kind of put some ceremony together and honored several people from the law enforcement. The chief from Bluffton came down and he was given the wreath for his lost member of his police department that was putting the spikes out up near Lima, I think, and got run over by a car or something like that, got hit. And then they had an award for state trooper and for Rowe. Was that his name? Chris Rowe. Chris Rowe. Yeah, I think I brought the thing so I'd know and I didn't even look at it. So, and then a sheriff's department. Let's see, the Moody, Deputy Kelly Moody. And then part of the reason we want to bring it up tonight is because they honored 3 of our policemen, Chief Roberts and was, let's see, where's he at? Chief of Police Award, and then our Officer of the Year, Ben Boyer, and Police Exemplary Service Award to Ryan Benji. So it was a good event, and it went well, and I appreciate you guys doing that. So thanks. So then we were able to go to Klockner Pentecost. I think I have to say that right. It used to be always called KP Films. They make sheet plastic that they sell to different companies. They make the bottom, mostly the bottom portion where they press it out into like the cups for like little jelly pieces or for your takeout dinners that are frozen. It's where they put the food in and it's sealed up so you can take things out of the grocery or whatever that way. So it's pretty neat, pretty neat place. It's certainly interesting to go to these places. We went to Blue Supply the other day, and I told you about that. But it's like I was amazed at what they do and all the stuff they make. how many pounds of, 1,000,000 pounds of resin a month that they go through to make all that film. It's quite a kind of impressive. And I think they say they're probably just operating a little bit over 50% because of the all this that's come from COVID or what's happening in the world with not being able to get supplies and that kind of stuff. And they could use another 12, 14 people. But so everybody's in the same boat, but it's very interesting. They're great people and it was fun going through there. So we did that this morning. One other thing, and maybe Brian might want to say something about it. Him and the cohort came up today and we had a proclamation signed for EMS week, which is going on now. So that was nice. And you have another big event coming up for your company.
We do, yes. I wasn't ready for that. So Friday there'll be we're inviting right. We're inviting the local administrators of the facilities and just city dignitaries and stuff. This past Sunday we had a community event celebrating 15 years, and we had almost 200 people out there. Served Kona ice, multiple food trucks. So it was very nice. And we celebrated that along with the beginning of EMS week and celebrating 15 years. So
good. Well, an event I didn't get to, kind of notable. The hospital had a 100-year anniversary celebration that Saturday. I wasn't able to get there, but so that if I see those people, said let them know that I'm thinking about them, and they do a great job for the community. So with that, I'll pass.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Safety Service Director Ryan Delk.
Thank you, Mr. President. As the mayor stated, we've been very busy the last couple of weeks attending all these events. So I'll make it quick as possible. The first thing, which you're probably all aware now, it's Law Enforcement Week. So we've turned all the lights blue around the city building and dyed the fountain blue because we really appreciate all of our law enforcement and our local police department here at Greenville. So we did that to honor them, and then sounds like we're going to have a great event here at the end of the week to kind of finish it off for them all. The second thing is just to make you all aware. So we've gotten an EPA violation. And it sounds bad. It's not as bad as it sounds. No one was ever in danger. Everything is fine. It was at our water. It was for our water. And what happened is we pull samples, we send those to a lab. Well, that lab, their piece of equipment broke that tests that sample. So because of that, we got a violation. We weren't out of any kind of parameters. It was just because of the timing that the sample was sampled. It was us and multiple other villages and cities kind of even throughout the Midwest. I guess, because my first question was, well, then why don't they have a backup machine? And they were like, well, that's $1.3 million. So that's why we don't have a backup machine. We pleaded with the EPA not to give us a violation, but they did. And just in case you hear something, it'll be in our report. That's what that was for.
Was there a fine or anything?
There's no fine. It's just a violation that says you didn't pull a sample on this date at this time, which we pulled the sample. It just wasn't tested and reported to them because of this machine failure. So
that seems fair.
Yeah. With that, I will pass.
Thank you, Mr. Safe Service Director, Law Director Mike Reeman.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. We have a couple of things to the agenda and we do the executive session. I'll answer any questions anybody has, but if there's no questions, I will pass so we can move on.
Thank you, Mr. Law Director, City Auditor, Sam.
2 items. First of all, I just want to make sure, has everybody responded back to the auditors? You need to get that done.
I can later.
Can you come into the city building and get that done, maybe?
Right. Can I come into the city?
You might be able to.
Because they're about ready to finish their portion of that. So make a plan to do that, please. The other item is a question. Did we already do a finance committee assignment to review the 2023 budget? Have we done that one yet?
I don't think we have.
Okay, I need to request a finance committee assignment to review the 2023 budget.
Goodness, we just did the
I'm meeting
2022.
Thursday with the head of the finance committee, but we actually have to have a meeting after that.
When does that need to be done by?
I would like to have it, them be finished and have the report in by the second meeting in June.
The second meeting in June 21st. And finance committee is you. You want to set a meeting for that?
I can't set a meeting yet till.
Well, I mean,
We'll get it done.
get it done. Let me know. Okay.
That I pass.
Okay, thank you, the city auditor. Next committee reports, we have none. We go on to ordinance resolutions. We have 10. First, we have resolution authorizing the city auditor to file an application for the Ohio Rural Water Association.
A resolution authorizing the city auditor to file an application with the Ohio Rural Water Association Retro Group to participate in its group rating program and authorizing the payment of fees for such services and declaring an emergency. This resolution authorizes the city auditor to file an application with the Ohio Rural Water Association and to participate in the Ohio Rural Water Association Retro Group rating program utilizing Comp Management, Inc. services and paying the fees for such services. This resolution has an emergency clause.
Move to suspend the rules on this resolution, give it second, third reading by title only.
It's been moved by Mr. Rogers to read this resolution second, third time by title only. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely. Yes. Godwin.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing the city auditor to file an application with the Ohio Rural Water Association Retro Group to participate in its group rating program and authorizing the payment of fees for such services and declaring an emergency. A resolution authorizing the city auditor to file an application with the Ohio Rural Water Association Retro Group to participate in its group rating program and authorizing the payment of fees for such services and declaring an emergency.
Would to adopt the emergency clause?
Been moved by Mr. Whitaker to adopt emergency clause. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely. Yes. Godwin.
Yes. Move to adopt.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to adopt. Any discussion?
Yeah, this is for the group rating on workers' comp, correct? Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely. Yes. Godwin.
Yes.
Okay, next we have a ordinance supplemental.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Greenville, state of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022. The supplemental ordinance allows for appropriations in the general fund, park fund, general bond retirement fund, and law enforcement trust fund in the sum as follows. Mayor's Economic Development, Mayor's Office in the amount of $3,000. These funds are needed for consulting services for grant funding. New Equipment Park in the amount of $7,568. These funds are needed for projects budgeted from the account line. General obligation bond principal, general bond retirement in the amount of negative $155,000. And general obligation bond interest, general bond retirement in the amount of negative $29,813. This reversal is needed as payments are going through the CIP fund. Office supplies, law enforcement trust fund in the amount of $2,879. These funds are needed to purchase Lee's online software.
We'll suspend the rules and give this ordinance a second, third reading by title only.
Moved by Mr. Whitaker, suspend the rules, give this ordinance second, third reading by title only. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely. Yes. Godwin.
Yes.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Greenville, state of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022. An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Greenville, state of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022.
Move to adopt.
Been moved by Mr. Brown to adopt. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely. Yes. Godwin.
Yes.
Okay, next, number 3, we have an ordinance amending the DRD districts for 2022.
An ordinance amending ordinance 19-30 by clarifying the downtown redevelopment district 1, downtown redevelopment district 2, downtown redevelopment district 3, downtown redevelopment district 4, downtown redevelopment district 5, downtown redevelopment district 6, downtown redevelopment district 7, downtown redevelopment district 8, downtown redevelopment district 9, downtown redevelopment district 10, downtown redevelopment 11, declaring the improvement to certain parcels of real property to be a public purpose and exempt from taxation, requiring the owner of the parcels to make service payments in lieu of taxes, specifying the plan for using service payments to promote economic development and job creation, authorizing the execution of an economic development plan, establishing the downtown redevelopment district 1 fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 2 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 3 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 4 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 5 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment 6 Fund, establishing the Downtown Redevelopment District 7 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 8 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 9 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 10 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 11 Fund for the deposit of such service payments and approving related matters. This ordinance amends ordinance 19-30 that created 9 downtown redevelopment districts for the purpose of rehabilitation of historic buildings, creating jobs and encouraging economic development in commercial and mixed-use commercial and residential areas.
Move to suspend the rules, give a second, third reading by title only.
A move by Mr. Rogers to suspend the rules, give this ordinance by second, third reading only. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes,
Rod?
definitely.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely. Yes. Godwin.
Yes.
An ordinance amending ordinance 19-30 by clarifying the Downtown Redevelopment District 1, Downtown Redevelopment District 2, Downtown Redevelopment District 3, Downtown Redevelopment District 4, Downtown Redevelopment District 5, Downtown Redevelopment 6, Downtown Redevelopment District 7, Downtown Redevelopment District 8, Downtown Redevelopment District 9, Downtown Redevelopment District 10, Downtown Redevelopment 11, declaring the improvement of certain parcels of real property to be a public purpose and exempt from taxation, requiring the owner of the parcels to make service payments in lieu of taxes, specifying the plan for using service payments to promote economic development and job creation, authorizing the execution of an economic development plan, establishing the Downtown Redevelopment District 1 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 2 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 3 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 4 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 5 Fund, Downtown Redevelopment 6 Fund, establishing the Downtown Redevelopment District 7 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 8 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 9 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 10 Fund, Downtown Redevelopment District 11 Fund for the deposit of such service payments and approving related matters. An ordinance amending ordinance 19-30 by clarifying the Downtown Redevelopment District 1 Fund, Downtown Redevelopment District 2 Fund, Downtown Redevelopment District 3, Downtown Redevelopment District 4, Downtown Redevelopment District 5, Downtown Redevelopment 6, Downtown Redevelopment District 7, Downtown Redevelopment District 8, Downtown Redevelopment District 9, Downtown Redevelopment District 10, Downtown Redevelopment 11, declaring the improvement to certain parcels of real property to be a public purpose and exempt from taxation, requiring the owner of the parcels to make service payments in lieu of taxes, specifying the plan for using service payments to promote economic development and job creation, authorizing the execution of an economic development plan, establishing the Downtown Redevelopment District 1 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 2 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 3 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 4 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 5 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment 6 Fund, establishing the Downtown Redevelopment District 7 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 8 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 9 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 10 Fund, the Downtown Redevelopment District 11 Fund for the deposit of such service payments and approving related matters.
Move to adopt the ordinance.
A move by Mr. Rogers to adopt the ordinance. Discussion?
I'm glad you read that twice.
Anything?
We get clarification on that.
Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely. Yes. Godwin.
Yes.
Next, we will move on to resolution authorizing advertising for bids for lime removal.
A resolution authorizing advertising for bids for water treatment plant lime removal. This resolution authorizes the safety service director and water superintendent to advertise for bids for the removal of lime sludge from the water treatment plant.
Move to suspend the rules, give this resolution a second, third reading by title only.
Been moved by Mr. Schmidt to suspend the rules, read this resolution by second, third time. Discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing advertising for bids for water treatment plant lime removal. A resolution authorizing advertising for bids for water treatment plant lime removal.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to adopt the resolution. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Moving on to number 5, a resolution authorizing the disposition of no longer needed vehicle.
A resolution authorizing the disposition of no longer needed vehicle. This resolution authorizes the street department to sell the city's 1999 Dodge Caravan on govdeals.com, to which the proceeds will be provided to the police department in exchange for their Ford Explorer.
Move to suspend the rules, give this resolution second, third reading by title only.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to suspend the rules, give this resolution second, third reading by title only. Discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing the disposition of no longer needed vehicle. A resolution authorizing the disposition of no longer needed vehicle.
Move to adopt. Moved by Mr. Whitaker to adopt. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Let's see, move on to number 7, a resolution authorizing the solicitation of bids for biosolid management. I'm sorry, 6. Resolution authorizing the filing of applications for the 2022 Community Park Grant Program.
A resolution authorizing the filing of applications for the 2022 Community Parks Improvement Grant Program. This resolution authorizes the filing of applications for the Community Parks Improvement Grant Program.
Move to suspend the rules, give this resolution a second, third reading by title only.
Moved by Mr. Schmidt to suspend rules, give this resolution second, third reading by title only. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing the filing of applications for the 2022 Community Parks Improvement Grant Program. A resolution authorizing the filing of applications for the 2022 Community Parks Improvement Grant Program.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to adopt. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Okay, now we will move on to number 7, authorizing, resolution authorizing the solicitation of bids for the biosolid management.
A resolution authorizing solicitation of bids for biosolids management. This resolution authorizes the safety service director to solicit bids for biosolids management services.
Move to suspend the rules and give this resolution second, third reading by title only.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to suspend rules, give this resolution second and third reading by title only. Discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Resolution authorizing solicitation of bids for biosolids management. A resolution authorizing solicitation of bids for biosolids management.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Mr. Whitaker to adopt. Discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Okay, next we will move on to number 8, resolution authorizing disposal of a no longer needed motor vehicle.
Resolution authorizing the disposition of no longer needed motor vehicle. This resolution authorizes the disposition of a no longer needed Ford Explorer from the police department, whereas the street department has requested the vehicle be transferred to them.
Move to suspend the rules and give this resolution its second and third reading by title only.
Moved by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules, give this resolution second, third reading by title only. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
A A resolution authorizing the disposition of no longer needed motor vehicle. A resolution authorizing the disposition of no longer needed motor vehicle.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to adopt the resolution. Discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Moving on to number 9, a resolution authorizing safety service director to advertise for bids for North Ohio Street project.
A resolution authorizing the Director of Public Safety Service to advertise for bids for the rendering of necessary materials, equipment, and labor in connection with the North Ohio Street project and declaring an emergency. This resolution authorizes the Safety Service Director to advertise for bids in connection with the North Ohio Street project. This resolution has an emergency clause.
Move to suspend the rules, give this resolution a second, third reading by title only.
Moved by Mr. Schmidt to suspend the rules, give this resolution second, third reading by title only. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing the Director of Public Safety Service to advertise for bids for the rendering of necessary materials, equipment, and labor in connection with the North Ohio Street project and declaring an emergency. Resolution authorizing the Director of Public Safety Service to advertise for bids for the rendering of necessary materials, equipment, and labor in connection with the North Ohio Street project and declaring an emergency.
Move to adopt the emergency clause.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to adopt the emergency clause. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Mr. Whitaker to adopt. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Our last one, number 10, resolution authorizing to enter into a contract or enter into a grant for lead line.
A resolution authorizing the entering into a grant agreement for lead service line inventory. This resolution authorizes the Safety Service Director to enter into a grant agreement for the lead service line inventory.
Move to suspend the rules and give this resolution second, third reading by title only.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to suspend the rules, give this resolution second, third reading by title only. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing the entering into a grant agreement for lead service line inventory. A resolution authorizing entering into a grant agreement for lead service line inventory.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Mr. Whitaker to adopt. Any discussion? Ryan, is this part of the lead line replacement or is this just?
This is identification.
Okay. Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Okay, that completes our ordinances and resolutions. Next, we will move on to new business, which is reviewing the implementation of a trash pickup system in the city of Greenville. So Brian, I know you handed out a packet before. You want to roll with this?
So I guess before we get started on the packet, I just want to, kind of tell everyone kind of my vision and thought process behind this and how we got to where we are with this, I guess we'll call it a proposal. So number one, we just did an extension on our Rumpke contract. It's going to be coming due again next April for May, so we'll have to rebid it. I don't know if you all recall, but the last time when we did this extension, it started out with, we tried to keep them at a 0% increase. They basically came back to us with a lot of different things and said, well, if you don't take a 3% increase, then we're going to make you rebid it and we're going to up it by 7%. So that kind of got us thinking. Also, I probably get I'm going to say on average, at least 1 to 2 complaints a week from, and mainly customer service or in the city too early, complaints on Rumpke. They're in the same boat as everyone else. Employees are hard to come by, especially good employees. And They do a little different where so you get paid 40 hours no matter what. And if you can come in and do your route in 3 hours, you go home and you get paid 40 hours. So it doesn't incentivize them to do a better job. It incentivizes them, in my opinion, to try to get it quicker. Right. So that's one. And then, we've been kind of talking about, what are ways we can do to try to clean up the city and make it look better. We deal with trash complaints, over the just this week, I think the police issued like 10 different trash notices for people. And when I say a trash notice isn't junk or, scrap metal. It's actually garbage. Because then we can issue a 5-day notice. And if they don't have that cleaned up in 5 days, then we can issue a citation. There's a process we go through. So it was like, okay, what can we do to help clean up our city and clean up our alleys and just clean up the whole thing? Well, trash, right? Everyone would be able to have a trash dumpster. There would really be no excuse to have a landlord that has a basement filled with trash or a garage filled with trash, because we deal with that a lot as well. The tenant moves out and they had been sticking all their trash in the garage and it's to the rafters, and here we go. We have complaints about mice issues when that happens. Just a gamut of things. And then also, Rumpke puts a lot of stipulations on cleanups and large item pickups and things. So we're like, well, we could kind of create this to be our own. So I did some checking into it. We actually went and visited Troy, and myself and the mayor and Mr. Myers and Mr. Ward from the street department went and rode around with the guy in Troy who does their trash, Bobby Sims, great guy. But so he was telling me he was like a meter reader, and he's like 10 years ago when they implemented this, he's like, I fought him. He's like, I was a union guy, and I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever. I'm not interested. And he's like, it's turned into be the greatest job ever and the greatest thing ever. So we toured and kind of watched how they, did their trash, and we visited Piqua and we visited Covington. West Milton does it, Versailles does it. So there's a list of municipalities in the area that do it. We found things that we liked how they operated and things that we didn't like. The one big thing like Troy, so they went fully automated, and so then that they made everyone put they do all toters, so they made everyone put their toters out front, and it just made it kind of ugly because then people didn't take their toters and put them away. So that was one thing we didn't like about that. Piqua lets you have unlimited amount of toters. So you can go by some houses and there'd be 6 toters sitting out front. And another, just something we didn't really like about it. It was kind of ugly. They all put it on their utility bill. That's a pretty common thing. The one thing that Piqua and Troy and even Covington has, that they have their own transfer station. So it's a county run, Miami County transfer station that they can take their trash and recyclables to. Another thing that Troy does, and they couldn't give me any explanation for this, but they do their trash, but they still have Rumpke do the recycling. I don't know if that was just an agreement. No one seems to know why. But again, not something that we really liked or thought would be beneficial to us. So that's kind of like my vision with it, or, what kind of spurred the discussion. There's a lot of talk out there, I guess, now this weekend, and that really there's been no information other than what I've given you guys and maybe some conversations we've had administratively. But the whole Rumpke getting rid of trash bags is not true exactly. They don't want to sell. They don't like the next contract. They made a statement to me, hey, we want to not do trash bags. We want to do stickers. So they want to go back to the sticker way. So basically you would have to buy your own trash bags and then buy the stickers, because bags are hard to come by and they take up a lot of space, and obviously they're probably way more expensive to them than a sticker, but I don't see them lowering their price because of it. So that I think is where the trash bag information got out that got kind of construed in the public. The other thing is, this is just a conversation, and, you know, I'm 100% open for suggestions, and we're gonna have to kind of build this thing as we go. I feel we have a great plan in place, but I'm sure there's things that I'm not thinking of. We tried to do our, you know, educate ourselves and do the best job we could to get to where we are. These numbers that I provided you, I think are on the extreme high side, but I didn't want to have to come back and be like, hey, this isn't gonna work. Like, we're gonna have to up it. So I wanted to get worst case scenario out there. So, Mr. Inman, if I forget anything, that's kind of the gist.
That's the gist. And I think the biggest motivating factor for us going forward as we were looking at this is one was to be able to have a better control of costs. So even though right now we're operating under 2-year Rumpke contracts, we're still somewhat at the mercy of Rumpke. Has anybody, to anyone else, I don't think anybody other than Rumpke has bid the contract for the last 12 years. And so when there's no competition, you're kind of stuck with what you got. And so, you know, to be able to provide a better service and maintain the cost, so we're not at the mercy of their threatening us with 7% increases or whatever it may be, that combined with the additional service level, you know, to be able to handle, if it's First Friday, you know, calling Rumpke in to come and handle some of those things, it's not convenient, it's not part of the contract. So if it's not part of the contract, it doesn't get done. Well, now if it's a city department, we've got more flexibility to be able to do some of those things.
One thing I noticed, Ryan, and I knew the city of Troy was one of them. So my biggest complaint or concern on trash is you drive up and down 3rd, 4th, and some of the 11th, 12th, and 13th Street, and you go down those alleys. I mean, it's just atrocious, the amount of junk and trash in people's backyard. So I wanted to see Troy. It's kind of, I don't think Troy and Greenville's pretty similar. They have some bad areas. I don't want to say bad areas, but kind of a low income area, just like we do. So I drove down some alleys through Troy, and I was amazed of how cleaned up that city is compared to some of our alleys and areas. So I was a big fan of this, especially after I kind of started checking into it. As far as like number of employees and trucks and purchases that we would have to do, can you kind of run through that?
Yeah, so I guess another thing is this would just be residential customers. We would stay away from the commercial side, and the commercial businesses could still use Rumpke or Best Way or Waste Management, whoever it is they want to do. We would completely stay out of the commercial side of the trash business. So there is approximately 5,500 customers, residential customers in the city. So like I have this cost here at $19.25 a month, and then a 25% increase per year for the next 5 years. And then that you could either get a 96-gallon toter or a 48-gallon toter for trash, and then everybody could get a 48-gallon toter for recyclables. That'd be a closed lid. Our ultimate goal was to automate as much as we could, and automate is you have to have the toters for, get the arm, you go down. So we still have to do a demo and bring a truck in and do some testing in some alleys to make sure we can do automation in the alleys. Cause like I said, I don't like that out front thing. I want to keep it in the alleys as much as possible. So these numbers could change quite a bit, because we have like max number of employees and then max number of trucks if we were going to do full automation. So this would be 2 automated trucks and 1 rear loader truck. So the rear loader you'd have to do downtown, any place that you couldn't get. And then you have to keep the recyclables and the trash separate. So it could change to 2 rear loaders and 1 automated. It just kind of depends on when we do this, when we demo these trucks, which one we feel is going to work the best. And, you know, we've kind of talked about it amongst ourselves, like, even if we went rear loader this time around, you know, we might be able to down the road with technology of trucks and things next time. You know, you always try to automate it, because you take employees out of it. You take workman's comp claims out of it. you're not as dependent on people as you are a machine. So we've tried to automate everything. And then with like large item pickup, we would use our limb loader, what we call our limb loader, our lightning loader, to go through. That's what West Milton just started one, and that's what they use. So we talked to a couple of the Rumpke drivers, and he was like, one thing that would help us, he's like, they do these large item pickups or the spring cleanup stuff, twice a year. And he's like, if you would do that monthly, you could really condense that down and it not be as big as of a strain on those weeks when it goes down. So like I said, we can kind of build it however we want, but numbers wise, another thing, so then everyone always talks about, okay, well, what about people on fixed incomes or the elderly? The city has a lot of those. So I'll give credit to Mr. Raymond on this. He's like, how about what if we do the homestead exemption? So the county does what they call a homestead exemption, and I added the paperwork in here that you have to fill out for them. It's here at the end. So homestead exempt application for senior citizens, disabled persons, and surviving spouses. And there's it kind of tells everything that you have to do to qualify for that. There's right now, as of yesterday, 990 residents that have the homestead exemption. So we base this number on the homestead exemption discount on 1,000 people or 1,000 residents, just because, we're not sure if there's people that aren't signed up that would once they find out about it. That number could fluctuate. So my thought was, if you gave them a 15% reduction, because don't get me wrong, there's major costs in the trash, but the big cost is the fuel and the truck and the employee stopping at each stop. So I shouldn't say you can't. It'd be very hard to say, well, this person is charged this much and this person is charged this much, because the big cost isn't really in the trash. It's in the stop and the equipment to get the trash. So homestead exemption, again, just an idea we had, Mr. Raymond's idea. I thought it was fantastic. We can change that. So then you go over to your right, and those are Rumpke rates right now as of 2022. And then we just went through and added 3% a year, because most likely that's what they're going to do. I guess it probably more. I doubt if it's less than 3%, but those are the numbers that your bags and stickers and your, depending on your toter size, what it would go up to. At this time, the Rumpke part of the contract is that red bin is an 18-gallon recyclable bin. There's some kind of discrepancies on our part. We've kind of been tracking, or not really tracking, but trying to keep an eye on. Not as many people in our mind from just going out and searching around recycle as, like, we don't think all of them recycle. It was kind of low, really, when you look at the bins. So that could change the cost as well, because you could need less recyclable bins. But a big complaint we get is the recycling bins that we offer aren't big enough. Another problem that we have is the recyclables blow out. If it's a windy or trashy night, they blow out and end up all over the street, and then you're out there cleaning it up the next day. So, no matter what, and I would agree with Mrs. Dieter on that, like next contract, we probably need to push Rumpke to make those different. Now, I've heard that in the past, there's people like, hey, I like this size bin because it fits perfect in my spot, and this is all the recyclables I have. We're gonna have to work through those kind of items, I guess, is what I'm getting at. So going down, you have your projected revenues with your homestead exemption cost, and then your total projected revenue once you add in the homestead exemption. And then the initial investment is obviously the biggest one, and that's going to be the toughest one to get through. Like, again, this is worst case scenario. So the plan would be to purchase some land in front of the street department, build a building out there. Everything would be ran through the street department. They'd have to hire new employees to run the trucks, but Matt and Wes would manage it. It'd be ran through there. all the complaints and calls would go through their office. Then the utilities office would do the billing portion, and it would be added to the water sewer bill. So these financing options were just some options from Huntington Bank, and we got these from our vendor that we were working with on the trucks and the toters. You know, we've kind of talked amongst ourselves. So if we go further, we'll probably shop that locally and see if we can get a better deal or something to keep our money in house. But the option 2 here, where they call it lease in arrears. So basically you own, or you have all the equipment for 1 year, and then you don't make your first payment until the first year. That way that capital expense doesn't have to come out of the general fund somewhere. These are just numbers that he put together for us, like I said, and he could take it out further if we wanted. You know, like I said, we did the worst case scenario where we went with the lowest possible one, which was the 7 years on the $1.8 million for the initial investment.
What are we doing with it? When you put it in the back of the truck, where's it going?
Transfer station. Yep.
Now I got a question for you, Ryan. On the
Yes, sir.
5,500 customers, is that
Okay.
every house in town?
Well, there's doubles and triples in there. So we have,
You got a rental that's got 3 apartments, so there'll be 3 toters for that.
if they have 3 meters, yes.
Based on water meters.
So it's based on
Yeah,
water
water
meters.
meters.
Yeah.
Then vacant houses, there'll still be a dumpster sitting there that's,
Well, now if they aren't paying a water bill.
yeah, because there's water runoff that they charge for that. So I didn't know if that was,
Right, there's still, yeah, you're still gonna have storm sewer. I mean, that's always on there.
then, you said you're going to go to Rumpke and take the trash to Rumpke. Now is Rumpke going to raise that on us since we don't use them anymore?
They could, they definitely could. The solid waste district thinks that they'll even give us a better rate, like they give Versailles a better rate. I don't know for a fact. We have some contingency plans if that happens, and that is you take it to Modoc or Mercer County or Preble County or Miami County.
On the trucking.
So everybody would be forced to have a toter then, correct?
Yes, if you have a water bill.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, like, enforced is kind of a bad word, but it's hard to decipher. You know, like say, I'm like, okay, I don't want a toter and I live across the street from Mr. Reeman. He's gonna pay the bill and I'm gonna put the trash over in his. You know, I don't know how we can police that. I'm open for suggestions, but I think that's a tough road to travel.
Like my mom, she's 93, she might have a trash bag, maybe one every 4 to 5 weeks. And for her to pay for a trash toter, and only have that much trash, it's not going to be feasible. And, right now, she has a neighbor that helps her out, takes and puts a bag whenever she has it into his toter. And, of course, she does the recycling bin, the red box. And, either he or I take it out to the curb.
Right. Again, like I said, there's just no good way. I mean, I can't think of a way in my mind that you can police that.
I think you almost have to treat it like it's infrastructure, it's like their city water pipes. I mean, we have that expense to maintain that and stuff. So if you have a truck with people in it that's paying you fuel and insurance and you're driving by that place, probably 80% of that cost is just driving by it, whether you're stopping and picking it up. Absolutely. You got to think of it as infrastructure.
I'm not going to be the only one that, I've got a 65-gallon toter at my house. And every week I got Rumpke coming to my commercial property and dumping an 8-yard dumpster.
Mhm.
And, I've been told stupid for having a dumpster at my house when I'm getting an 8-yard dumpster dumped every week. And I'm sure I'm not the only person that, I'm sure there's people out there that don't have a toter at their house, but they take it to their business or whatever to get rid of.
You know, I'm sure they're gonna run into that also. Then when Mike was talking about the bags, and the reason that Rumpke hasn't had any competition on that, because Best Way don't want to bid on it, because they don't want to get into the trash bags. And Rumpke had kind of a control on that, because the last time we bid that, it was, we don't want to bid on it because they have trash bags. Then that's why there's no competition. Referring to the trash bags.
Right.
I'd like to speak to the, like your mother, and I appreciate what you're saying, but like in our household, I'm just saying it's the cost of living. It's the cost of living in the city. It's our toter doesn't get taken out every week because sometimes it's not full. So I'll just admit to being a tad on the lazy side. I don't want to drag that thing out at Wednesday night, or I don't want to have to nag Bill 72,000 times to drag it out. So if it's not full, it doesn't go out. But that doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that I'm not willing to. That's just one of the services that I'm willing to pay for. That it's just part of living in the city. And unfortunately, we do have people on on fixed incomes, but we always find a way to take care of it. So I just think that, like you said, it's the infrastructure. It's taking care of what the things that you want a nice city, you want your alleys clean, you want everything taken care of. I drive down through some of the alleys on my runs, and I'm thinking, wow. I don't feel so bad about when I have the one styrofoam cup that blows out and I have to go chasing it across the yard. But I think I'm thinking this sounds like a good thing for us to get involved with.
One other issue, I know the park is always battling people dumping trash in the park.
Yes.
So you have people that are basically stealing services. So they don't have a toter at home because they're just taking it to either illegally taking it to a business or illegally taking it to the park. So that would curb that too. I don't know how many times at my car wash on the south end, I would say half the trash in that dumpster is not mine on any given week. And it's people that are stealing services. So this has always been a pet peeve of mine. I think that would fix that also.
One of the, so several years ago, I lived in the city of St. Mary's. One of the things they did was charged a flat rate for trash on the utility bill. And it wasn't much, but then you paid for stickers and you could use whatever trash can you wanted, or you paid for sticker, whatever, you could slap them on whatever you wanted to. And so that was, and potentially maybe that's a way around it. There's a flat fee, whatever that is, that would apply to like Leon's mom. And then if you want a toter.
Right. So
Yeah.
St. Mary's is one of them in here that we did like a comparison with.
Oh, okay.
And they charge, it's like almost $10, I think, is their flat fee. It was,
Yeah, $9.95.
and then $1 per sticker. So what I found out with that one is the drivers then have to, like, if you put it on your can, you have to get out, you have to peel those. So they're constantly peeling stickers and saving those. That way the people can't reuse them the next time. Like the guy I talked to, he was like, it's not a great.
Sure. Well, I'm not saying we do that
Just
necessarily,
for
but
general.
just as a flat rate. And then if you want the toter, great, grab the toter.
Right.
Would we also have the 3 size toters then?
We would just do 2, 48 and 96 for trash. And the reason for that is toters are super expensive. It's kind of mind blowing. It would be really tough to have all that inventory. Like I want a 35 and I want this size and I want that size. So we thought giving 2 options was an easy way to do it.
With that third smaller one, though, that would help out the situation with the only picking up maybe every 4 to 5 weeks.
Oh, like you could go to 35. If you went to a 35, the automated trucks won't pick them up, but you can get around that. It's just too small for they fall out of the grabbers.
So you said 95 gallon?
93, 96.
96 gallon. So that is what most people.
So most people have
That brown.
96 or 65 is common. You see some 35s here and there around town.
So that would be basically, I think it's 70 some dollars a quarter now, right?
62.
61?
Mine was 61 or
62
something.
and some change.
Yeah.
I've got the 35 myself and it's, 40 some dollars.
Yeah,
It
so
would be a wash, basically, almost a wash for someone that has the bigger one now. Is what you're saying, right?
if you have the bigger one right now and you went to art, you'd save $1 a month.
Right.
Yes.
When you like to think too, I mean, the drivers, especially being, through the street department, like they're gonna take pride in what they're doing and Rumpke, they could care less. They empty the recyclables. They see how far they can throw the red bin. I mean, I think it's a challenge for them, honestly. And so they don't care what time they come, when they come. I know I complain about that all the time, but yeah, I think from a city standpoint, like we would just take a lot better care of it.
Now is Rumpke going to charge for the recyclables?
Yes.
So another question I had is, so the other cities you visited, did they, all of them do recyclables?
Yes.
Is that like a requirement from federal government or something? Or?
So it was, it's not any longer. Yeah, so you don't have to do it. It's strongly encouraged.
Outrage, probably.
Yeah.
I've had residents tell me like the same truck empties both.
Right, and that's the tough part, like,
Is
they
it
say it doesn't, but we've all
They dump it all in the same
witnessed
spot.
it, right? Like Rumpke will tell you that they have special trucks washed out in a special area to put their recyclables in, and Rumpke has their own recycling center down in Dayton that they take it to. But I watched them myself in front of my house, like dump the dumpster and chuck the recycling in the same truck, and they're allowed like a percentage of contamination as far as trash and recyclables, but it's a slippery slope. The guy that kind of was talking to us about the trucks, and I was like, well, is recycling that big of an issue? And he's like, well, on the east and west coast it is, but Midwest it doesn't seem to be a big push for it. But there's also a big need, like we went to Klockner today, and they were like, man, we wish more people would recycle the plastic, because then we can make these great things out of them. So recycling is expensive, but I think in some ways it's a necessity for the next generation. I mean, there's a reason, to keep our landfills, like Klockner's big thing. I bring that up because we toured that today. They just did an initiative where they have 0 landfill waste. They have 31 factories, and in those 31 factories, they just signed an agreement where they have 0 landfill waste.
Wow.
Which is pretty impressive.
Yeah. And on your recycling that, John was saying about, the cost of the recycling, to get rid of the recycling is cheaper than the regular trash, right?
No,
No?
I mean, they're not going to charge you less because they're still trucking it. They're still
Because
handling
there's
it.
a spot on that north or the south side of that building that's caged in areas where they dump all the recyclable stuff.
Right. And they say they have like 3 semis that are clean that they haul it to Dayton.
Well, they still got fuel at 5.25 a gallon.
Yeah. And then once they get it there, they have to have, instead of dumping it in the landfill, then they pay people to sort it. And I mean, I think the expense is still there.
'Cause I got an 8-yard dumpster also for cardboard. That's $107 a month. That gets dumped every week. Versus the regular dumpster, it gets dumped every week at $137 every week.
Yeah.
So it's a savings.
Matt or
Right.
Wes, you have any I know you guys, if you guys want to come up, I know both of you went to Troy, you said.
Yeah, Troy.
You guys have any comments or thoughts on it?
Not really. I mean, Ryan touched on a lot of what we noticed and what we, kind of checked out. Yeah, I don't really, can't really think of anything to add to it.
So street department, how many complaints a week do you get with?
We send them to Ryan, so I don't know. No, we generally, that's what we do, just because I know he deals with it. But we get, it comes and goes, but I would say 2 or 3 a week generally. And a lot of it's, they miss my trash. We've had to complain of why are they dumping the recycling bins in the trash can? I mean, we've had a little bit of everything, but I would say, yeah, it varies, but once or twice a week for sure. But some weeks you get 4 or 5 calls. So, but
Do you agree that if we did something like that and every resident had a toter, it would clean up?
100%. Yeah. And when Ryan kind of brought this up to us, that was one thing that I had never thought of, honestly, but that is, we clean up the trash that the police department posts, and that's one thing, you never see a dumpster there, and it's normally, there's always an excuse for it. They can't afford it, or they just don't want to do it. So I think that I would hope that would make that go a lot easier.
And as far as the street department, your leadership and your managers, would you be able to take on that additional responsibility?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think, like Brian was saying about, we try to sell that as a pride thing. And our guys now, they take a lot of pride in what they do. And I think that when we would hire people, we would only hire people that would take pride in, what they're doing. I think the Rumpke guys that the Iris really only talked to one of them. I think that they're, he doesn't live here. But he seemed like a good guy, but he just, he kind of filled us in on how they did things and, what to expect and the differences and stuff. And then when we went to Troy, we kind of seen that too. So yeah, I think we would be able to handle it and it would work out fine.
Any other questions for Matt while he's up there?
Don't believe so.
Thanks, Matt.
Yep.
My only comment, I think it would help to clean up the city. My other thought is we're hurting the older senior citizens, which we have a lot of those. And I think by forcing them to have a toter, we're, really hurting them, even with the reduction in the homestead.
So currently, if they're buying 1 bag a week at the smaller toter, it'd be about a wash, right?
The $1.50 a month difference
$1.50 a month difference.
from the 35-gallon toter to the trash bag.
Yep.
But the benefits of getting large item pickups.
But they're not gonna have 35-gallon toters though.
Yeah.
So, it would cost them more.
Yeah, I don't have the cost of what Rumpke's 35-gallon toter was.
Right. I'm paying like 47 something, I think it is. For
Yeah, 15 something, I think.
Yeah, 15 something a month.
Yeah.
So what's the options on a smaller toter?
35 or like what's on this proposal is a 48.
48.
With the homestead, so it's $16.36. If they're under the homestead, where the 35-gallon toter right now is $15.76. So it's a 60 cents increase a month is what we're talking about.
Yeah. So Ryan, I did reach out to 2 folks that had a bunch of rentals in town because I kind of wanted to get their take, right? And both of them was very favorable to. They thought it was a good program because the same thing, they had renters move out and the basement's full trash or the backyard's a mess or back porch garage. The only concern was, are they responsible since it's on the water bill? But then they quickly said, that's right, it would only be 1 month in the rear. I would have my deposit if they did try to stick the water bill before it got shut off. So
Right.
I think with it being a monthly billing, even though it's the homeowner responsible for it, right?
Yes,
Then,
but monthly helps it.
yeah,
you're
if it
right,
was
absolutely.
quarterly, then it would be, I think, an issue with some of those landlords that have a lot of rentals. All right, so the purpose of this was just kind of talk about it. I think probably best as we kind of sleep on it, we bring it up maybe the next meeting, talk a little bit more about it and kind of give Ryan a direction of how we want to proceed. And then what there would be, if we wanted to go ahead in this, there would be legislation,
Yes.
et cetera. Is that kind of the direction you wanted to go?
Yeah, I'm, whatever you
You
guys
weren't,
wanna
you
do.
weren't looking for.
No, I was looking for an answer. I just wanted you guys to see this and kind of talk about it and come up with questions or, like I said, like we can, the beauty of it is we don't have to say like, this is the way it is and that's the end of discussion. We can come up with a plan and if we need to change that plan a little bit, we can. These prices, the price is the price because I think we would struggle to make it any other way without charging the prices that I have proposed here, at least very close to it. I just don't think we could.
My question
make it
was,
work.
Sam, what did you think? I mean, the numbers like.
We had been looking at the numbers. We tentatively looked at, and I know it's not going to be exactly this way. We're just projecting figures, but it looked like there was a possibility that we could come out a little bit ahead each. And I don't really think that we're not in this to make a profit. Do you not agree on that?
Right, yeah, it's all about service.
Right, it's all about the service and cleaning up our community. But it's definitely something that we could definitely break even on.
Okay.
So, and make the payments over an 8 to 10 year period as far as the initial investment that we're going to have. So it's definitely doable.
And then I think part of what Roxanne said at the end is something to really think long and hard about is making this transition because of the financing structure. This pays itself back over 8 to 10 years. So this isn't a get into this and we gotta be committed to it because we gotta be doing this for 8 to 10 years. You're laying out, $600,000 in purchasing coders. We want to make sure that everybody's on board because in 2 years, if we decide to scrap it, there's a lot of lost capital there.
So we're going with green toters or?
Yeah,
Sure. I mean, who's to say down the road what Rumpke's gonna do as far as their increases? Right?
right, absolutely. And as Clarence said, we don't know what they'll charge up. I mean, I would hope that they're not gonna try to gouge us just because of going into the business, but they can set their price, whatever they want to set their price. The only thing that like Dark County, for example, so there's an $8 per ton charge that goes back to the Dark County Solid Waste District from everything that gets dumped out there.
So what do they do with that funds?
Do like recycling days and trash bash and tire cleanups.
And that's part of the count. Is that ran under the county?
There's a board.
Okay.
Solid Waste District, managed a little bit by the health department and commissioners.
So looking at my schedule, I am on vacation the next meeting, so I won't be here. So can we put this to bed until the 21st? And then we can, I know.
No, you're good.
We're gonna do this. We need to get the ball.
I think I'm good as long as we could order trucks in September. I could have them in time for start in May. So we basically have until September to make some sort of a decision.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it'd start May 1 of 23.
Just so I understand, asking for myself, as a resident of Greenville, now as an elderly resident of Greenville. I would get a 96 gallon toter for trash, right?
Okay.
And a 48 gallon toter for recyclables. And I'm paying $16.36 a month.
As long as you're on that homestead exemption.
Yeah.
As long as you
Which would
qualify.
be a cost savings from what you're paying now,
Right. Yeah.
because Rumpke doesn't offer that 15%.
Right.
Well, you get a 96-gallon toter or 2 48-gallon toters.
It's your choice.
Right.
One,
Say what?
so you would get a 96-gallon toter
Right.
for trash,
Right.
or you would get a 48 for trash and a 48 for recycling, right?
Right.
You have your option.
No, you always get the recycling. Everybody gets the
Everyone
recycling
gets
bill
the-
regardless.
Okay.
That's 48.
Yeah.
48 gallons.
And then you can trash, you
Whether
gotta,
you want a large or small
Yeah.
trash.
I'm a trashy guy, so I want a big one.
Something that I didn't bring up, but then $10 per month if you want an additional toter. Like if you wanted like 2 96-gallon trash toters, $10 extra a month, you could get that.
A lot of trash.
Mr. Smith.
And Ryan, just to clarify, currently we're on a 2-year contract with them and then we just signed a 1-year extension.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
There was an option in their 2-year contract that we could do a 1-year extension.
So it's going to have to be completely rebuilt next year.
Right.
Based upon your scheduling, Mr. Council President, it may, and knowing where we're at with the timing, is to schedule it for a public hearing and advertise it as a public hearing since you're gonna be more than 30 days out anyway. That way you can get the public comments and concerns and it's advertised explicitly for that.
Okay, set like a special meeting.
I don't think you need to set a special meeting. I would just advertise in the public
Okay.
hearing portion, you're gonna discuss trash.
Great, okay.
To me, this is a great way for the city, for its residents to take control of the costs from the here in the future, right?
Well, yeah, I would recommend everyone on council talk to the citizens and maybe there's something out there that Ryan and all of us haven't even thought about. A different idea, but I like the idea because I really think it's gonna clean up the city. We can do monthly large pickups, we can really tweak it to get the city cleaned up.
It also does provide us more flexibility with special events. If there's something big downtown, we can stock extra toters downtown and then we've got the service to be able to pick them up. There's a lot of ancillary benefits that may not come out strictly in the pricing. That's part of, as John like said, the infrastructure that you're buying allows you to do those things.
Yeah, like for instance, the horse parade, it's always a mess afterwards. And I think last year, we didn't get those trash stuff emptied until like Monday or something. Is that correct, Ryan? Because I had some complaints on a couple of my renters downtown. So, yeah, I think there's some benefit, but look, I don't want, I think we just need to think about this and then bring some ideas back and we're not trying to do anything under the table or mislead the public.
I think we can
I
wide open.
I got a question also.
I got another couple questions. Ryan, on the price that Rumpke's charging us now is for people that got toters or 96-gallon toters that got 96-gallon toters. And I know like 4 years ago, people that's on council that your previous person brought up about trash. And, and it was brought up about having to stop at everybody's house. That Rumpke could do it cheaper, than what we're paying now if they was automatic. And if they was stopping at every resident, because, like John said, that they got to go by your house no matter what. And, I'd like to see what Rumpke's price would be to do the whole city automated like you wanting to talk about versus your prices doing it with the trucks.
I don't think they'll give you that price, but I could be wrong.
But I mean,
I'm just saying.
you want to compare apples to apples, but that's, we're not doing everybody in the city. Best way wanted to bid.
You're saying call Rumpke and say like,
Well,
if we
I don't know if
required
they'll give you
everybody.
that, but they might say something. They might give you something. They may not want to lose the city of Greenville either.
Right, yeah, I can't imagine they would want to lose this, but
It don't hurt. Does it hurt to ask? I mean, is it going to make them that mad that?
no, I have no
We're not
problem.
doing, nothing underhanded. We're not. I mean,
Didn't they try the automatic
arm lift for a while and it just didn't work because of the alley situation?
I believe so, like.
Like we had them in
it's been
town
quite a
for
few years
about
ago.
3 months and I don't know if it was a test thing that they did or.
So the original automated arms like went out and up, and now the new ones like stay in and they have, it's like, reach out and then slide in.
Come in and then they don't, which makes it a little bit.
So technology has changed.
Closer, we're gonna have closer environment like your alley. But we still have to look at it, see.
Right.
How they can do it.
Leon, you had another question?
Yeah, a question. So in other words, if they had a 48 gallon for trash and a 48 gallon for recycle, then you're talking 19.25 a month times 2.
No,
Okay,
that's for everything.
okay. So in other words, you would get that recycle basically for free.
Yes,
It's included in that.
included.
Now, let's say that Rumpke decides that they need more money. And, I know this is just a proposal that you put in here for that quarter raise per year. What if they go up so much that we can't substantiate that on that quarter?
Then we would, like, as far as our dumping at the transfer station,
Right.
then we would dump elsewhere.
Okay.
I mean, you're talking to get to the Miami County when it's right there on 25A. I mean, it's not ideal, but you're talking an hour and a half. You could do a round trip. And if the dollars and the fuel and the manpower and all that, if they got out of hand, we could sustain that.
So one other quick question, because when we talked a little bit about this before, the amount of times that when that truck would leave the building in the morning and pick up trash, how many times is that trash dumping a day?
So we think that we can house one route in the entire city in a day. So once, to answer your
Okay.
question.
So I was amazed with that. So basically that truck driving 8 hours a day, loading full is going to get dumped once a day.
Yeah, and that 12 ton, Matt, is that correct? Each truck will hold 12 tons?
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
Yep. It's compacted.
Right.
The automated are 33 yard, and I think the rear loaders are 25.
Yeah.
So it's taking it to get it dumped is not as much as I thought.
Yeah.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Educate everyone on trash pickup. Okay,
That's
so
for trash, and then recyclable would be a different truck. Something I didn't bring up, like Bradford, I don't love this idea, but they do every other week. So trash is every week, and then the recycling toter only gets dumped every other week.
Well, that's terrible.
they do their own.
Rumpke does it,
Rumpke does that.
but it was just another. I've learned a lot about trash over the last month.
All right, so let's all just do our homework, okay? And then we will put this back on the agenda on the 21st, and we'll have another long council meeting.
Need you just clarify that you're going to schedule it for public hearing?
Yep, schedule a public, we can set a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing trash pickup for the city of Greenville.
And public hearing will be the 21st as well? Yes, okay.
We just have it during regular council.
Okay,
Okay. All right.
wanted to make sure.
Appreciate everyone's time and everyone attending this also. We'll move on to old business. We have none, correct? Council representing outside committees, Main Street Greenville Board. Which is, who is Main Street? That's
Jeff.
Jeff.
Oh, that's, we're meeting this Thursday, so I really don't have a
Okay.
report. I'll,
Bring that up on the next meeting.
yeah.
Okay. Communications.
We received the monthly report of April from the street department, fire department, transit, and police departments.
I encouraged everyone to read those reports because I thought it was interesting on the statistics on the police department. So,
Mr. Council President,
yes.
I'm not sure that we went over the Dark County Visitors Bureau meeting, and I'm not sure if that one was supposed to be tonight.
I think that comes after Main Street.
Okay, I haven't hadn't spoken since our last meeting, so.
You have a report.
I defer to him. Yeah. Yeah, I got a couple things. May 20th, the Chamber's annual banquet. So I wanted to bring that up. They were talking about, if you remember the previous couple months ago where the theft had occurred, they were able to get back, I believe, 9 of the 12,000 of that. And so now they're looking at being bonded for ACH and check fraud. That way they can recoup 100% if that ever happens again. But one of the things they were trying to figure out is whoever does the deposits and signs the checks, they can't do the reconciling. So they were trying to figure that out internally, but Arcanum had voted for no old fashioned days. They're still not over COVID, I believe. Let's see, what else was there? I did 50,000 copies of their visitor's guide, and so that was reprinted. I mean, there's just more conversation of having the executive director, Greg, work over in Versailles. I'm trying to figure out if a day or two a month, if it was feasible for him to be over there to do basically what he's doing for Main Street Greenville, and trying to figure out if there was a sliding scale based on the revenue that he was able to generate and whatnot. So that's really about all I had for that.
Okay.
You guys have another meeting later on in the month, right?
Yep. 31st, I think.
At which point, we meet, Main Street Greenville meets, and then Dark County Visitors Bureau. We'll probably be getting the director's reports again. Like we did
Next
a
couple of weeks
ago, so we can stay more abreast of what's going on with both of those organizations.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to call council.
Norris,
I'll be really quick, or hope to be. We had a very good turnout with Lady Wave softball. The 7th grade team won NVL league against playing Troy, which was the 8th grade team with 2 7th graders on it. So kudos to them. Lady Wave, the varsity took the NVL championship. So they started OHSAA play tonight. So I haven't got a text to see how that was. They won. Yeah, very good. So they'll be at it again on Friday night. This coming weekend, we're going to be filled at the north end of town again because we have the 5 in the spring tournament. So we're going to have 24 teams at GGSA. So north end, the restaurants will be packed. That's an all day Saturday, all day Sunday event out there. So with that, I will pass.
Rogers,
Yes, as we get into the warmer months, there's more motorcycles out. I find a lot of people, not necessarily here in the city, some, but is blowing their grass whenever they're moving out into the street. That grass for a 2-wheel motorcycle is just like ice. So it's very dangerous. Granted, we try to train the motorcycle riders also to be aware of those kind of things. And so it's not only just the person mowing the grass, but it's our riders too that we try to impress upon to watch for those things. Also, as we look at, I don't think we've had any motorcycle accidents here in the city of Greenville. I'm sure we've had a few out in the county. But as we go along, I think we all need to prepare ourselves to watch for motorcycles. And, if you've got smaller child or children that ride to a destination of some kind, whether it be vacation or wherever, going to grandpa and grandma's, have them count the number of motorcycles instead of cars on the highway. So that way whenever they grow up, they are a little bit more aware of the motorcycles on the highway. With that, I pass.
Schmidt,
I will pass.
Whitaker,
I want to thank Andy for talking about the Lifewise Academy. They're going to have that luncheon on Sunday, and I plan to attend that. And I want to thank Kathy for bringing up the event Back to Blue, the law enforcement memorial ceremony on Saturday. again, we want to see a really good turnout. I think we owe it to the police departments to protect us, and you know, they don't know what they're getting into as they go to work every day anymore. It's kind of crazy what they face. But second and lastly, I want to thank an organization personally that does an extraordinary job in Greenville and in the area, Everhart Hospice. My mother-in-law just passed away this week, and we were the recipients of some wonderful service from some very wonderful nurses and aides that come over to her house and make this unfortunate process a bit better. And I just want to thank them personally for what they've done and make everyone aware of their services. It's just fantastic. It's right here in Greenville. So with that, I pass.
Brown,
Just wanted to say thanks to the mayor, Ryan, for the proclamation today for the EMS week, as well as thanks to the Archbishop and the Bishop for coming out last Sunday for our event that we had there at Spirit. Again, there was 150, 175 people. It was a real good turnout. Everyone's invited to the city council and everyone else here is invited to the VIP. That's 2 to 6 on Friday. Should you guys want to attend. I'd like to thank Kathy for talking about the Back to the Blue. I think that's super important. Along with Chris saying the North will be busy. North End, they will be exceptionally busy because besides softball, Eldora Speedway will be rocking this Saturday as well. It's family fireworks night up there. So I would expect just plenty to be here in Greenville as well from that. And so myself, I will be up there working and will be unable to attend the event, but I'm sure it will be good. And yeah, just thanks to everybody for coming tonight. I know it was a long one. Look forward to hearing more about the trash. And for the love of Pete, we couldn't even have our own week. We had to share it with the law enforcement. So, you know, we like to give each other a hard time, but anyway, with that, I pass.
Ely,
I pass.
Godwin,
Pass.
President Baumgartner.
Well, since Chris brought it up, my daughter is on that 7th grade team, so yeah, that's probably why they won, right, Chris? That's right. And just congrats to all the seniors graduating. I think my son said he has 7 days of school left, so.
Oh, well.
Graduation season. That I pass. And I will
So moved.
obtain a motion to move to executive session. Mr. Brown, move to call roll.
Norris,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone, for attending.